We're back in North Pole, Alaska, and we got a lead on a guy named Robbie who's got cars in fields and in sheds. So let's go check him out. I met Robbie through some mutual car friends that he has and I have. So you have an interesting story in that you don't care about what old car you buy, but you just buy old cars.
Old cars,
like,
any of them.
For how long?
For as long as I can remember.
Really? Since you were a kid?
Since I was a kid, I just restore them.
You restore them, yeah. No specialty.
No special.
Well, show me your non-specialty stuff. But here's an interesting car. So a 62 Ford 390 convertible. Now, like if you get a convertible down the lower part of the States, the floors are always rotted out. How are the floors here, like on this one? Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it runs and the top and everything works.
Yep, 390 automatic on a column. That's a nice car. 253 Vickies. 59 O's, what a monster, man. So you don't see many cars like this.
Very seldom anymore.
Yeah. Is it solid?
Oh, yeah, it's really solid.
Man, it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like you almost wax it out.
Yeah, motor in it, everything. I never tried starting it, I just pulled it in here.
Nice car. So you got two Rivieras back here.
I got a 63 and a 65.
Uh-huh. Wow, this is like one of those calendars you see, like a barn find calendar or something. What a shame about this. This is a rare car. Wow.
I got another one with the whole front clip and everything. So,
boy, if you sold cars, you'd make a lot of people happy. Phew. Yeah, I'm seeing more convertibles than I thought I would see in Alaska.
You get one, then you got to have the parts to fix them.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a 57 ranch wagon.
Yeah, it's a ranch wagon there.
So you have two Etzels. One interesting thing about some of these Etzels, they have push-button transmission selectors that are in the middle of the steering wheel. So you just push it for drive, reverse, park, and that would remain stable as you turn the wheel. Chrysler's later did push-button transmissions, sometimes on the left, sometimes on the right. That's a solid car.
This here one was put on a Lincoln frame.
Really? Well, this is a rare body style, even though it's been modified on a Lincoln frame. This hardtop goes into this trunk. The trunk opens up, hardtop goes up, the top flips down, and the whole roof goes in the trunk. So it's a convertible and a hardtop. There's no soft top for this car. All the mechanisms still there, the pumps and everything. Yeah. Man, there's too many cars here to take it all in.
A lot more.
A lot more? Now that Cyclone, is that a 351 in there?
They put a 390 in it.
It's got a 390, yeah. That's a pretty rare car and desirable. So check this out. It's got 4-speed Hurst, bucket seats, no console. That's a rare package there. Now take a look at this. You can see how little, how dry it is here. Here's raw metal. Paint's peeled off, and there's raw metal there, and it's not rusted. You can still see the metal. That's how dry it is in this area of Alaska. That's pretty amazing. So this is a Crown Victoria. What is this, 55?
55.
Yeah. So the Crown Victoria had this wraparound bar, this stainless steel bar that went across the top, and it's duplicated inside as well. And then the Sunliner was the glass top version of it. Look at the size of this equipment here. Holy mackerel. So was this government stuff?
Government.
From the base?
Yep.
What brand are they? Do you have any idea?
Oshkosh, I think they are.
Oshkosh. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow, some piece of equipment. Wow, and here's a hot rod Camaro. 68, yeah. Stick shift. What motor is that, a 350?
No, 6-cylinder.
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 Ah. And that's 3-speed, I guess.
Yep.
Boy, somebody would love to have this car. So you bought all these from one guy?
Yep.
So this is the runner. What year is that one?
I think that's like, I don't know what it are, 64s or whatever.
No, probably 74.
74.
So this has got that fiberglass panel that you take the doors out, and this makes like a sports car.
Yeah.
Then you say this has a 351 Windsor in it?
Yep.
So it's got automatic. Looks pretty complete. Are these project vehicles or parts vehicles?
I think more parts.
Parts, yeah. Well, that's a nice one, man. So look at that. So that's an Eldorado.
This Eldorado.
Eldorado with 3 2 barrels. Factory. You can tell we're in Alaska. Many of the cars here from local residents have block heaters, and many of the parking spots you go to have plugs. You can plug this in and keep the engine warm while you're inside shopping or whatever, so it starts again. We've reached the end of the road here.
The end of the road.
Yep. Well, that's quite a collection. Well, this has been a nice little walk through the woods with Robbie, and he showed us, I mean, I don't know, 100 cars, 200 cars, I'm not sure. They were all American, and many of them were interesting. And one thing I found unusual was that even though North Pole only has 1,500 residents that are legal to vote, that's how small the town is, that many of these cars came from North Pole, which just sounds insane. Lots of convertibles with solid floors, which you also wouldn't think about being in Alaska. So Robbie, I want to thank you for spending your afternoon with us.
You bet. Appreciate it.
Let me know when you want to start selling these cars. We can help you do that.
I'm sure.
All right? Thank you.
You bet.
But now, let's go visit a guy I met last week while we were here. He's got some cars that I think you'll enjoy seeing. This is my new friend, Carl Westfall. And here we are back in North Pole, where he's got a few Broncos. I find in Alaska, you don't own just one, you own a lot of them. Tell us about these early model Broncos that you've got here.
The three I have here are this one, the frame, the body is over there on the ground. This was a Michigan truck when it came to Alaska.
Okay, what year is this one?
This one is a 74.
And this goes with the yellow body.
This goes with the yellow body.
Yep.
Is this black one behind us. It had been rolled originally.
Rolled over.
Rolled over. It had some rust on it.
Yep. And what year is this one?
This is a 71.
71. You have a title for this?
I have title for this.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is a project, that's a parts vehicle, and that's a project.
Yep.
Yeah, and you've got more Broncos than this, right?
Yes. I have two more at my house.
Jeez. So now through the magic of digital technology, we're going to go from Carl's storage yard to his house, 40 miles away. So magically, we're in Carl's garage, 40 miles away. Can you tell me about this Bronco that I'm leaning against?
This is the first one that I ever saw.
And how old were you think?
I was probably pretty young. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. My neighbors got this. I have had this one just for a year now. He sold it to his father-in-law. His father-in-law sold it to another neighbor of ours. The neighbor sold it to a guy who was a hunting guide in the Healy area. And I knew he had it. So I went to him and actually might have talked to his wife first and said I was interested in it. And she said I could have any of them in the yard.
Wow. So you kept track of it all those years?
Yep.
All those different owners? Isn't
Yep.
that something?
Oh, and
so you were 5 when you saw it. You were how old when you owned it?
39. Man. When I finally got it. So last summer we got the motor started. For as long as the straight six survives, I'll keep the straight six and the manual transmission in it.
So you're talking about a 43-year-old, 44-year-old car. Mm-hmm. Man, still paint on the floors.
Still paint on the floors.
Well, it's a pretty cool vehicle. So is your hope, like in the spring, to be able to start chugging around with it?
Well, that was my hope for this spring.
It's funny how those things... Thank you, sir, for inviting us here.
No problem.
If you remember Preston and Terry from a couple of episodes ago, that was the father and son muscle car collecting duo. They have a neighbor, and she's invited us out to take a look at a Mazda that she bought new, and even to this day, it's sitting behind her garage, so we're going to take a look at that. We're over here meeting Bonnie. I mean, she just worked a double shift, worked 17 hours. She's ready to fall asleep, and she's going to meet with us and tell us about this car. So what car are we going to go look at?
We're going to look at my Mazda. It's a one-owner car. I got it brand new off the lot in, I think, 74.
Now, what made you buy that car?
It was one of those I walked on the lot and spun a circle and went, mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you try any other cars? Datsuns, Toyotas, nothing. That was the car. And what year?
74. That's when I picked it up.
Yep. Wow. All right, so it's in there somewhere?
It's back there somewhere in the trees.
You're gonna go with us, or do we have to go by ourselves?
I'll go with you.
Okay.
I'm not scared of it.
How long has it been parked?
20 years.
Oh boy. So the roof got crushed in. Is it from the
creased.
pole barn?
Yeah.
Wow. So you bought this new. This was a hot little number.
Oh, yeah.
You were a hot little number.
Oh, yeah.
Stick shift.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Now, do you want me to tell you why I ended up parking it?
Yes, please.
My husband really didn't like the car once we got married because I could beat him in whatever he had. So he was using it one day and filled it up for me with gas and put diesel in it and started it. So then he drained it. It never ran correctly. And then one of the brakes started sticking on the rear end. So then we just pushed it to the side and parked it, and it never got fixed after that.
And that's it. Wow. Is that sad?
So you might be able to look in under there and see how many miles. I don't know how many miles I have in it.
77,000 miles.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, not bad at all. You know, there's a whole world of people that love old Japanese cars. Now they're restoring them.
It's got the original wheels, the original
I see that.
engine.
Trim rings, hubcaps. So what's your intention?
Well, I'm hoping somebody who's recently retired from the military would like to restore it a little.
And that's your son.
That's my son, Trini, and Preston.
What scares me is the water's been going in here. So this is probably going to be a challenge. But all the emblems are on there. I mean, everything that's missing on usual cars are here.
It's just one of those hiding in the trees.
No kidding. This is one of the most hidden cars I've ever seen. So just imagine, you went out and bought this car. It's a radical thing to do. Your husband hated it. Your father hated it.
Yeah, and they always wanted to drive it, so.
Wow. Well, I think they had the power of a V8, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost afraid to say, I think it's probably a 12B twin rotary engine, which would have been probably the same engine as an RX-7. But I'm almost afraid to say that because somebody watching this thing is going to say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. They were quite good race cars too. In the IMSA RS series, they used to race these cars. So we looked up in the Hagerty price guide, and there is no valuation for a car like this that Hagerty has tracked. It's got a 1400cc dual rotary engine with 125 horsepower. And as I remember these cars, they had the kind of the speed of a V8. They didn't get a real good reputation early on, the RX2s and RX3s, because they did not get really good gas mileage. And everybody expected they should get a real good gas mileage because they were little like a Datsun or little like a Toyota, when in fact it was a more powerful car than that, and it got the appropriate mileage. These had primary and secondary spark plugs before and advance when the rotor came around to burn out the unburned hydrocarbons, twin distributors. It's quite a complex little unit for the 70s. And this is the first rotary that we've found on Barn Find Hunter after 3 years of this show. Looking for old cars is not for the faint of heart. If you are riding down this road and you just happen to point your eyeballs back here, this is what you'd see from the road. You'd see weeds and some debris, a light post, fencing. Well, you wouldn't know there was a car back there. But unless you talk to people and tell them that you're looking for old cars, you're never going to find cars behind the weeds like this Mazda RX-4 that's been sitting here for more than 20 years. Japanese auto enthusiasts are now seeking old Datsuns and Toyotas and Mazdas. But this one has a great story. Bonnie bought it new and is the original owner. She bought it new in '74, so that would have been 44 years ago. Hopefully, her son, now that he's out of the service, will find time to restore this because it is a desirable car. And I'd sure love to see that thing back on the road with the motor that goes, Happy hunting. Phew. Does your wife know how many cars you have?
No.
I bet.